First, we are going to be exploring a series of classic models, basic approaches that have been offered in the industry for a few years in varying degrees. In this section, we'll be covering approaches including on-premise, application service provider, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. To help drive discussion around the cloud models, we will introduce this backdrop, and it will appear on the upcoming slides, visually providing a framework that we can compare and contrast the cloud models. It represents some general benefits between on-premise-based solutions and cloud-based approaches. On-premise offers benefits of total control of all aspects of the solution and levels of service provided to the business. It represents current practices of IT that include fixed licensing, fixed cost, and challenges of learning curve associated with bringing each new technology entirely within the organization. Cloud-based solutions trade control for the convenience and potential maturation of services, while offering benefits of dynamic licensing, variable expense, and speed to market. Our first model will be to look at the on-premise deployment and see that all aspects of the solution residing within the corporate environment. Major components include the network, power and facilities, compute storage and management capabilities, the actual application, services, and legacy, all brought together that represent a single solution. As we look at the benefits and trade-offs for the on-premise approach, we see all major aspects are centered around total control and responsibility by the corporation. The trade-offs being in the areas of dynamic licensing, variable cost, and learning curve, and the potential speed to market. These aspects include foundational services that cover all aspects of network, facilities, and power. Platform services, bringing core capabilities of computing, storage, and management. Global services. In this approach, the corporation has full responsibility for designing, building, and supporting all aspects of scale, fault tolerance, and disaster recovery. Building blocks. Once again, the client is creating and supporting all internal capabilities around integration, workflow, and security. Resources. This category represents the full financial and time investments in personnel, training, skill sets, learning curve, and administrative and upgrade processes. Development. The entire build-out, testing, and deployment of all the other categories must be fully developed. People must be trained, and this must be maintained throughout the entire solution lifecycle, from inception to sunsetting. There are many forms, flavors, and sizes of application service providers. This approach has existed in the industry for several decades, and there are rich ecosystems of partners offering differentiated levels of service. In this example, we are focused on the overall approach of migrating an entire solution, including your hardware and software, to the application service provider's facility. In the application service provider model, the emphasis is placed on deploying your solution in an alternate facility. Certainly, different providers will come in different sizes and potentially offer small parts of other major categories, but the key message in this illustration is that the corporation will be intimately involved in all aspects of the remaining categories. For example, even if a service provider can help you with updates or assist in disaster recovery capabilities, the corporation has to be involved in all aspects of the design and relationship to ensure the specific provider's methods are adequate. While the application service provider model is a conservative move towards an outsourced or cloud type approach, it brings with it trade-offs where most of the concerns still need to be managed and funded from the corporation while introducing the complexity of the relationship or service level agreement management. The infrastructure as a service model is very similar to the application service provider in the fact you are migrating large portions of your solution to another facility. Here we see the additional value being introduced by the power of virtualization technology to ease migration and potentially scale the solution. In this model, we continue to see the trend of shifting benefits and trade-offs. In addition to the foundational services being provided, we see some advantages in the platform and scaling categories coming into play. The key message here is the advantage of being abstracted from the hardware costs, maintenance, and replacement being provided by the service provider. The attraction is the potential immediate cost savings and abstraction from the hardware. Though realizing the corporation is still involved heavily in every aspect of building up all the layers of the virtualized images and the patching, upgrading, and licensing of the entire solution similar to the on-premise model. platform as a service model continues the pattern of abstracting layers of the solution into the cloud, providing them as services to the corporation. Here we see not only the facilities, network, and power, but also compute, storage, and management components are being abstracted. Here we see platform as a service offering an increased value proposition with considerable aspects of the solution being delivered by the service provider. In this illustration, we are emphasizing that major competitors in the platform as a service space are providing this offering at a global scale, and that the platform is enriched with an ever-growing wealth of building blocks. Given the layers that are abstracted and use of the building blocks, many of the scalability, deployment, fault tolerance, globalization concerns are removed from the corporation's need to architect, staff, and administer. This is a drastically different approach from all the preceding models, where even when partnered with the largest of the providers, the corporation was still intimately involved in the majority of the build-out of the solution. Platform as a service also tips the benefits heavily towards dynamic licensing, variable cost, and can accelerate the speed to market through the simplification of consuming new technologies through services. Software as a service represents the full adoption of cloud-based business architectures and business models. Here we see an entire solution is developed by the vendor and consumed as a service by the corporation. In the software as a service model, most of the major concerns are abstracted and owned by the vendor. The client is more emphasized on the configuration and relationship management with the vendor. As we have seen in all the classic models, they are all variations on the theme of trading control for service.